It has been a little bit of time since we've seen this man. He was so busy on the Fierce circuit for a while there around the 2023 era. That being said, Tony Garcia is back on a little bit of a late replacement on September 6th. Tony, how you been, man?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing wonderful. I'm so excited to talk to you because when I heard that you were going to be stepping in for that fight against Dylan Smith, I couldn't wait to see you because I'm sure you have leveled up so much over the last little bit of time. I think we'll start off there. How has life been since the last time we saw you in July of 2023?
Honestly, a lot. I feel like last time you guys seen me, I was like still like fairly young and kind of new to the MMA scene, and then just like a lot has changed, not just like training wise, but just life wise, and just becoming like a more mature person and a bigger person. So just training, working really hard over at living in Brazil for a while, training there, and then coming back to Extreme Couture and just really getting close with a lot of guys at Extreme Couture and just grinding, man. I'm just grinding.
Tell me a little bit about living in Brazil. I didn't realize that that was going on.
So I moved to Brazil to I got in touch with a UFC fighter named Amanda Ribas. I had the awesome opportunity to go over there and train for about a year and stuff with her and her team. And it was just really amazing over there. I was teaching some wrestling over there and learned jiu-jitsu and all the Muay Thai over there and just really living amongst them and stuff. And it was just a great like way to view life differently. You know, you grew up in America, you see life one way, and then being able to go to a foreign country like that and really live their life and see and just your values change a lot. And I think it helped me not just as a fighter, but also as a person to become more of like a mentally stronger person and just be a better person, I think, in general.
What was the timeline for this? 2023, 2024?
I left in March of I think 2024, I believe,
Okay.
and then stayed there until like November about and then or like beginning of the this year.
Did you ever come back to visit family or anything, or were you out there for the entirety of it?
I was out there straight. I wanted to make it like a really a point on myself that like no matter how hard it got, or like there were times that I really missed my family and like I really like wanted to come back, or just like even like the tiniest things that you don't think that you'd miss, you do end up missing. Like for example, like just like flipping a light switch because I lived in like the favelas over there, so like just flipping a light switch was like a really like big thing. Where it's like, man, I wish I could just turn on the light in my room or something. So it's like just stuff like that and just honestly just I really wanted to make it a point where no matter how hard it got, I was gonna stay there for the time being and rough it out and become like as tough as I can, you know?
You mentioned being in the favelas and stuff. What was kind of like the living situation? How did that all kind of get coordinated as this decision was made that you were going to go out to Brazil and live there for an extended period of time?
So it's really funny because so the way it worked is like they had an athlete house, but it was in the favela, so it was kind of like bare bones, like there's like barely working water, you know, cold showers, you know, like no insulation. So it was rough, but and it was like actually really funny because I remember Amanda having a conversation with me. She's like, if it's ever too much for you, like I know you're from America, because obviously she has a bit of a nicer house, her being in the UFC and stuff. She's like, you can come stay with me, but I didn't want to create that divide between the teammates of like, oh, look at this American come over here, like getting all this treatment. So I was like, no, I'm gonna stay in the favelas. I'm gonna live like them. I don't want to be like, I don't want any special treatment, you know? Like I want to be exactly like them.
Did it open your eyes, Tony, to wow, this is what these people do to sacrifice to get to, potentially the UFC or to fight on these regional shows? Did it open your eyes to the sacrifices? I mean, I'm sure you see a lot of them in Vegas, but this is a whole different level.
Yeah, I've seen like it just completely changed my mindset of like who I am because like I used to think like when I train here now, it's like I view it as like the opportunity to train. Like I'm so grateful. Like I go to training every single day and I'm so happy to be there because like when I was living in Brazil, like there's people there that like, for example, like her name's Macarena. She's from Argentina. She moved from Argentina with her daughter and her husband, and she fights for one championship. Now she's an amazing athlete. But this girl moved from Argentina here to the Brazil and she changed her whole life, sacrificed, and like she lived like really poor in the beginning when she first moved to Brazil, and now she has a one championship contract, so she's living really good there. But it's like I see all these people like, and that's just one story. There's so many people that come from Argentina. They're coming from El Salvador. They're coming from all these different countries just for the chance to train at this gym and really change their lives, you know?
Do you speak Portuguese or any other language that helped you get around, or was that kind of another difficult barrier to break through?
At first when I got there, I didn't speak a lick of Portuguese. I knew zero Portuguese, didn't know anything. Now living there, like I think just your brain does crazy things to adapt to its environment. So like now I can actually speak pretty decent Portuguese. Like I get enough to get around. I'm not saying I'm fluent, but definitely enough to like speak, try to get dive into the culture a little. You know, I talked to like Brandon Myers. I know he's Brazilian, so we talk all the time about it and stuff. Yeah, like when I got there, no Portuguese. Like I remember, like I'd be in the room and like they're like talking, like giving the instructions in Portuguese, and I'm just sitting there looking lost. You know, and like have to have like everything explained to me.
My gosh. Was there ever a moment, or since you've been back in the States, is there anything specific that you miss, or maybe what is the thing that you miss the most from living out there?
I miss the people. The people there are just so warm and so kind. You know, like there wasn't a single like rude person I ever met there. Like everyone there was just so welcoming. You know, like I just really miss the guys out there, and then that, and then also the padaria, like the little you go like because like there it's just there's so many little shops. So after training, I would like go to the little padaria like right next to the gym. Like it's like a like and just get bread and get like all these little sweet treats. You know, like I gorge so much over there.
It's so interesting. I don't know if you've listened yet, but I spoke to Dylan Smith last week on the podcast, who you're going to be fighting, and you both have now gone overseas in some preparations for this. I know yours was almost a year removed at this point, but you both have been kind of forged by going over to foreign places, which I think is extremely interesting. For you, how important is it to get back on track coming into September 6th?
It's really important, I've done a lot of work with like my mentality and stuff because like if you look at all my fights, like I'm kind of a bit on a skid. And I think my biggest issue with fighting is not physically. I feel like physically I always show up. I always have exciting fights. I'm always there to win. But I feel like at some point, whether it's before the fight or during the fight, I always like kind of struggled a little mentally. And over these last few years, I've really, really tried to like just be confident and really drill into my mindset of who I am and like everyone around me telling me like you're really good, Tony. And so I think it's about time that I really believe that and really insert that confidence. So like when I show up for September 6th, it's like I'm not just showing up physically, I'm showing up mentally to know that like I'm here. I'm not that young kid anymore. Like I'm here to make waves and I'm here to tear up the scene, you know?
Do you have a fight that was the hardest for you?
Um, I think honestly, thinking back on it, I don't think there's ever been a specific fight. I think it's never been like I've never been scared to fight another person. It's never been that. I think just mentally, I think the hardest fight I ever had, like preparation wise, was probably Dietrich Jessup. That second fight I had. He was a tough kid, and that was an amazing fight. I still look back at that fight. I'm like, that was such a cool fight.
Wild.
I think in terms of like mentally, I was just not like really there at all because like I remember I just like kind of lost connection with my coach and stuff. So like I wasn't really training, didn't really have a gym. And I remember it was actually thanks to Zach, he got me in touch with Roman Isbell at Stream Couture. He's like, hey, this kid, he fights for us. He's a really good kid. Can he like train with you? And I was like, he was like, yeah. And so like I was only training at Extreme Couture for like maybe like a month before I had that. So like going into a fight with a new corner, new coach, new like just everything new. So like when I really showed up, like I was there to win, but like I just felt like things weren't like as optimal as they could have been. So I think, but now I've been there for some time. Like Roman has grown into like not just a coach, but like a friend. Like I'm really around him all the time, and I really view him as like a really good, like almost one of my best friends. So I can't really like I can't wait to have that and like really see how this fight goes.
And no, I remember all of that very vividly. You kind of being in between camps and then going over to Extreme and Roman, and I remember all that very, very vividly. And it is interesting how you've been able to grow and develop, and so much has blossomed. One thing that I've been very curious about, you mentioned it earlier on in the interview, but Amanda Hebus, how did you get in contact with her? Obviously, there's some Vegas ties there. How did you two kind of connect? And more than anything, Tony, the fact that you two have stayed so close for years at this point.
Yeah, so it happened like this was honestly a while ago. This was like back in like 2021. Um, uh, her dad is her coach. His name's Marcelo Hibas, and he had a UFC fighter fighting on the Contender Series named Vinicia Salvador, and so they came to Vegas, and then my coach at the time kind of like I don't know how he got in contact with them or he knew him, but Marcelo kind of needed like someone to just move around with for his guy to like warm him up for the fight and stuff. So I went and just kind of like hung around and talked. And then her dad was there. And at the time, like I didn't even know he was Amanda's father. She was or anything. And we just kind of clicked, like we didn't speak the same language, but as soon as we met each other, it was like the energy was there. It was like, and he just told me afterwards, like he felt like his reason for coming to Vegas, like was like sent from God, like as if it was meant to meet me. And so like he texted me, we stayed in touch a little, and then he was like, I think you could be a really good partner for my daughter Amanda, and I would really like that opportunity. And then so like I think over time, like when I was still a little too young, still a little too scared to like kind of hop a bar, like take that opportunity. But I remember in that 23 year, like when I kind of took those like fights, lost those fights, I was like kind of like in like I wouldn't say like I knew if something needed to change here in America. Like I knew I was getting everything I needed physically, but I wasn't getting something I needed mentally. And so I like really thought about it. So I hit up Marcelo again, and he's like, "You're more than welcome to come." And I think it was just the right time that like I needed to change something mentally where I needed to. I was so used to being comfortable, I guess, and so used to just living that comfortable lifestyle where I was like, man, if I really want to get good at fighting, if I really want to be the best, like I need to get out of my comfort zone. So I just quit my job, bought the flight to Brazil, and just didn't look back. I just went because I knew like this is what I want to do. So I gotta burn the bridges.
It's been an incredible journey for you already. And I think so many people are looking forward to you coming back. You've had one fight since we last saw you. It was in Brazil. Were you living in Brazil during that time when you had that fight?
Oh yeah, I was. Yeah, yeah.
Very
Um, and then that fight was a big learning experience too, because like honestly, I know it counts, but like me personally, I don't think it counts just because like it's so different. It was so different than like anything I've ever experienced. Like here we have a lot of like you guys are very good when it comes to like making sure the fighters are like healthy, making sure the fighters are like cutting good amounts of weight and this and that. Like there, cut weight. I showed up, stepped on the scale. As soon as I stepped on the scale, they made me go fight. I had to like wrap my own hands. I was like warming like this is the dude I'm fighting. This is me and him. Like we're warming up like next to each other, getting ready to go fight. So it was just like a lot that I think I wasn't mentally prepared for. But like now that I've been through that, I feel like there's nothing that like I cannot be ready for when it comes to a fight. Like whether I don't care if someone pulls out the day before, I don't care if someone misses weight, I don't care. Like I'm saying yes, let's go.
Oh my gosh, that is absolutely wild. And it's funny you say that because I watched the broadcast and obviously I couldn't understand it, but I thought it was an extremely high level production. I was very impressed by it. So that actually really shocks me.
Yeah.
All that being said, that, training or getting warmed up right next to each other and all that. So kind of wild.
The
All that
fights
being
themselves are very like yeah, the fights themselves, the production's really high over there. Like I really enjoyed like the showmanship aspect of it. It's for SFT combat in Brazil. If anyone is watching, you should go watch some of the fights there. It's very cool. A lot of big names come from there, like Carlos Paredes. I think that's like the only one I can think of, but like all like the fighting nerds, like it's right next to Shoot the Box. It's like a lot of the Shoot the Box guys fight there and stuff. So you'll find like a lot of good names and up and coming names fighting there.
are you ready for another kind of different experience in terms of fighting outside right near a beautiful lake in Utah? Are you prepared for that? And has there been any changes in terms of your preparation leading up to this because of that?
Honestly, no, everything stayed the same. I feel like I'm gonna bring some of that desert heat to the nice lakes of Utah. But I'm really excited to, like I live in a desert, not a lot of water here, so it'd be nice to be by some water when we fight. Maybe I can enjoy that a little before and after the fights.
I hope you do. I hope everybody does because it's such a beautiful sight. I'm sure you're going to really, really enjoy it. One thing I've never gotten the chance to talk to you about, Tony, is the Muay Thai fights that you had prior to your MMA career. You were a very dominant Muay Thai fighter, 4-0, I believe, over the course of a very short window. Can you tell me a little bit about getting involved in Muay Thai? Because I know prior to that, you were more so a wrestler.
Yeah. So I started wrestling. I have pretty good wrestling accolades. So like when I started fighting. My coach at the time really wanted to drive that point of like being able to stay on the feet and really be confident and sound on the feet, because like if you're a wrestler and all you can do is wrestle, when you go into a fight, obviously, what's the other guy gonna know you're gonna do? Is you're gonna wrestle, it's easy. So really those first like year and a half of me like actually trying to be a fighter was really just boxing and just Muay Thai because I wanted to make sure that I was able to stand with anyone because obviously where I shine is my grappling and my wrestling, but you can't use that if you can't get close to the guy that you're fighting. So you want to be able to be sound and get in and out, be really good. So those Muay Thai fights were really good at establishing a good base of striking to be comfortable enough to get close to my opponents and really not be afraid to let my hands go. As you can see in some of my other fights, I'm a wrestler, but some of my other fights you can see that I don't do a lot of wrestling. Sometimes I just like to swing sometimes. So
Do you ever want to maybe go back to strictly striking, or is it really that was just kind of the preamp for the MMA career?
Honestly, I really like it. I see you guys do like the Muay Thai events sometimes, so I would really like to like do maybe one of those one time, like just for fun. But yeah, I follow a lot of like One Championship, a lot of like Lumpini Stadium stuff. So like I see them sometimes they do like a lot of K1, like a lot of the Muay Thai and the MMA gloves and stuff. Like I really like that stuff. So maybe in the future I could do one of those. I think that'd be really cool.
One thing that I think is really interesting is you're going to be fighting on this card with Xiao Luo, who is also another fighter out
hmm
of your camp who came in on a little bit shorter notice. How excited are you to just see her and her level up? Because from the last time that we've seen her in, I believe, February of 2024, she has really improved as a fighter. Already was good, but has looked really, really good in her last couple showings.
Yeah, I've worked with her fiance, her coach, Lennon. He's a really good striker. This guy is his striking IQ is just insane. It's through the roof. And so I'm really excited to see how Shao performs. She's awesome. Like I think I work hard. I think I'm always one of the hardest working people in the room, but like she takes it to a whole nother level. Like this girl is like the most hardworking woman I've ever met in my life. She's constantly training. She's constantly getting better. And like, if there's one person I can count on to like be a big star in the future, it's Xiao. Yeah, she's amazing.
I always wanted to just completely concrete it out in terms of your wrestling accolades. How far did you go? What ranks did you reach?
So here in the state of Nevada, my freshman and sophomore year, I took state. Um, I took and then I went up a weight class junior year. Didn't really do too good junior year, but I was like still really excited for my senior year. But then COVID happened, and so I didn't get a senior year. And I was really like relying on that senior year to like really like I guess, structure those accolades a little better. And so I could maybe go wrestle in college and stuff for like a good program or something. But COVID happened, so that didn't get to happen. And I had offers and stuff, but a lot of the offers I did have kind of like got snipped or like weren't really like that feasible. And like I love wrestling, but I wasn't gonna go into debt for it. And so I was like just like sitting home thinking about what I wanted to do, like whether I was just gonna go live a normal life, go to college, be a normal college student or whatever. But then like I knew I always wanted to fight after college. I always knew I wanted to like compete because I love wrestling, but I always knew I kind of wanted something more. Wrestling is one of the hardest things I've ever done. It still is one of the hardest things I've done. But in terms of like competition, just me versus another person, I knew I wanted something just a little bit more. And so I was like, you know what? Like, let's give this fighting thing a try.
When did you get the idea that you wanted to compete in MMA?
Um, Honestly, I grew up watching it. It was actually funny. Like my first ever like fight I ever watched. Like I remember my parents would always go over to their friend's house for like UFC watch parties and stuff. And like I was a kid, I was just running around playing, not really paying attention. And I remember one fight like really caught my attention because like everyone was going crazy, and it was actually like probably the worst fight you could ever watch. But it was the Chris Weidman versus Anderson Silva fight where he snapped his shin completely in half, and like I was like watching, and like everyone just like freaking out. I'm like, oh, that's pretty gnarly. And like ever since then, I was like, man, this stuff's pretty cool. So I was just watching, and it was always in my mind, but I never had like really the confidence to be like, oh, I want to do that. And it wasn't until like my senior year when I was really like contemplating like whether what I wanted to do with my life. I was actually gonna go to the Navy. I was gonna go to the military because
I
I was like,
remember that.
I kind of just wanted to get away in life and like really just like find myself. And I don't know why, but I was in the Navy office and I was like sitting there and just something like I think it was God at the time was just really telling me like I think you should go be like why can't you be a fighter, you know? And like I like for example for the first time in my life I kind of just like had that confidence of like what's the difference between me and like these high level guys, you know? Like obviously it's the training, but other than that like what's so different? Like I have a competitive mindset. I have like what it takes. And so I like didn't really have the confidence yet. So I was in the Navy office and I flipped a coin and I was like, okay, heads, I'll go to the military. Tails, I'll go be an MMA fighter. I flipped the coin. It landed on tails. I got up, didn't look back, and that's how I'm here. So,
This might be a silly question, but in retrospect, how does that story make you feel? Do you feel you've made the right decision and that you've lived a life of abundance in terms of your MMA career thus far?
um, I think there's a lot I still need to do for me to be quote unquote like think like I've accomplished a lot. Cause like I think I'm just a high achieving person, so I want to accomplish a lot more. I feel like I'm not even at 5% of what I want to do in my career yet. I still have a lot to accomplish. But in terms of like just looking back from where I started, I think I can be very proud of myself and really just I just wanna when I die, I just want zero regrets. I don't want any regrets. Like I want to make sure I did it all. I saw it all. I did everything I wanted to do in life. So I think this was definitely a big part of that because I don't think I could live with myself if I didn't at least try, you know. So
Well,
I'm just glad I'm here.
Tony, it's been so fun to talk to you. One last quick question before we close things up. Dylan Smith, September 6th, live from Bear Lake, Fierce Challenger Series 16. What are you most looking forward to in this return, one to the Fierce Cage, but also relatively to MMA as well? It's been a while.
um, just I think you guys are just gonna see a new me. I think you're gonna see all the good parts of me that you saw before. On top of that, you're just gonna see even better. Like I think, no offense to Dylan Smith, I think he's a wonderful person. He's very nice, but like I think this is just a serious mismatch. So I think you guys are gonna see a new Tony.
Tony, absolutely can't wait for it. Looking forward to seeing you. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
You guys have a good one.